What's up everyone, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Today's project are these two Poulan trimmers, and the problem is that one has a good engine while the other has a bad engine. That means we're going to do some swapping. Let's take a good look at them, find out what's wrong with them, and hopefully we can fix them. In this video, we try and repair this trimmer. However, it may not be the exact repair you need to make to yours. We'll explore other options later in the video. In a previous video, the trimmer in the back was found to have a slightly worn out engine, but it still had life in it. However, we had a hard time tuning the carburetor, so that's going to need to be replaced. Now the trimmer in front of it has a good carburetor but a bad engine. I think the best thing to do is, instead of having two trimmers that need work, is to have one great running trimmer and the other a parts trimmer. The plan of attack is to remove the carburetor off the good trimmer, and before we put it on the other trimmer, we'll have to compare them. Even though these two trimmers look exactly alike, their carburetors might have slight differences that may not allow them to be swapped. I know I could have just bought a brand new carburetor off of Amazon or eBay and replaced the one that had the bad carburetor, but we already had the other one on hand. So if it wasn't available, then yes, I would have just bought a brand new carburetor instead. Now, just as a reminder, when disconnecting the fuel lines, especially when you have a remote primer bulb, make notes or take pictures to help put the lines back on the right way. So here's the good carburetor on the left that's from the bad trimmer, and the one on the right is the hard to tune carburetor. And before we go any further, let's have a good look and make sure they're exactly the same. And fortunately, they are the exact same, so that means we can now put the good carburetor on the better engine. Tuning a carburetor on a worn out engine is tough enough, but having internal carburetor problems makes things extra tough. After reconnecting the fuel lines, try pressing the primer bulb a couple of times and make sure that the primer is working like it's supposed to. So the primer is working like it's supposed to, so we'll continue on. Now, if your primer gets very difficult to press, double check that the fuel lines are ran according to your notes or the pictures you took at the beginning. Now that the good carburetor is on the good engine, let's try starting it. Luckily it starts just fine and it runs on choke, but it dies when you take it off the choke. And before we try adjusting the carburetor, let's go the easy way and increase the idle speed first and see if that helps. It may look like I was turning the idle screw a lot, but I was having a difficult time staying on the head. I know I could go and fine tune this carburetor with both adjustment screws and eventually changing the idle, but sometimes I like taking the easy way and just increasing the idle. If your engine wants to die off choke or off the throttle, just try turning the idle screw in a little bit and see if that helps. And if that doesn't work, things are going to get a little complicated after that. Another reason why we're swapping carburetors on these trimmers is that many consider these to not be high quality trimmers, so they're quite expendable. And to get one good trimmer from them and one parts one is about the best outcome for some cheap trimmers. So my question is, would you have swapped the carburetors like we did, or would you have just bought a brand new carburetor instead? Do you place any value on parts trimmers, or do all the parts you use have to be brand new? I know what I would do, but I'm more curious about your answer. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.